Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad.
Why, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And wow, already we just started out with a new fish. Thank you very much, Edward. But anyways, yes, it's been a little bit of a while, hasn't it? Well, maybe just a week, but still, though, hopefully during that time, you've all been good. You've all had a nice time. I know that, well, I will admit things were getting a little bit rough for me last week, but it has improved. It has been getting better now, so there is some good news there, and hopefully things will go up for me from here. But this is not what we are here for, though. This is about the show. This is about AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and let me tell ya, I can already feel that summer is coming. Not just because the weather has been getting hotter and hotter, but also we have been seeing a lot more trailers coming out than usual, where they're starting to go and come in droves, especially with the newer big movies that are going to be just around the corner. I mean, sure, in May we've already started a bit, especially with Thunderbolts, but now we have gotten plenty more. In fact, a good chunk of this episode will be talking about some of the new trailers that we've gotten last week. And this is not even to mention that on the day that I'm recording this even, Disney actually did announce that they are going to be releasing the first trailer of the highly anticipated Zootopia 2, which I will be saving that for the next episode. But still, though, even though we gotta wait for that for next time, we still got a lot more to go and discuss, and we're gonna have a heck of a good time on this episode. So with that said, it is now time I go into the chat wall, and I ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Now let me hear it. Are you prepared? Are you ready? All right, let's see now. Yes, I do see people are ready. That is good. That is great to see. All right, I think everybody is all set. Everybody is all prepared. That's wonderful to see. And I believe with that said, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story that we have for you today, or our first trailer of this episode, well, I'm just going to go and say it right now. We might as well go and immediately rip off the Band-Aid. I think it's the best option to go and start off with probably the worst trailer of the bunch. The one that there's a very good chance that not many of you are actually excited to see. So we might as well go and get that one out of the way before we get into the ones that we are excited for, or the ones that we really want to go and talk about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the first trailer that we have here, which will be of the upcoming animated feature that will be released this summer, Smurfs.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
Smurfs, featuring new music by Rihanna and more.
And that is Smurfs, to which the movie is going to be coming out in theaters on July 18th. Now, if you may recall the first trailer when that came out a while back, it was not met with great reception, I think, to really put it nicely. In fact, actually, let's be real. It was hated. It was hated by many people, if not most people on the internet, because of how it just felt so corporately cringe. It's just everything went wrong in that trailer, and it went viral for all the wrong reasons. So it unfortunately started off at rock bottom, at least in terms of people's anticipation for this movie. So maybe with the second trailer, it could go and actually make things up for some of the missteps that it did in the first trailer and hopefully show a bit more than what it would provide there. And as we have seen here, well, the answer is no, they did not. In fact, I'm just going to be honest with you all. This was a pretty sad trailer to watch, mainly because I get the feeling that it feels like the marketing kind of gave up on trying to sell the Smurfs movie, like to try to convince people like, no, it's much more than what you may think. Come on. We got all these great things going on. No, they just didn't care anymore. They pretty much gave up on any of that. Like, really, it's just what they have presented is a lot of the factors that many people didn't really like, and just like not even highlight them in a massive way. Like, you would get, yes, we have Rihanna coming in, being the star and providing new music for the movie, which I heard apparently the single for that Smurfs movie already came out and nobody gave a crap whatsoever. And not to mention also trying to highlight some of Rihanna's acting per se. And it's still awful. It's like still not good. And it still makes me question why the fridge would they try to make Rihanna act when clearly she needs a lot more training. And then there's also the factors of like the humor, which really so much of it in this trailer, other than stupid slapstick from what's his name? Razumel? I think it's Razumel. Whatever. Like, I feel like it would be more appropriate to call him not Gargamel. A lot of the jokes are just replacing other words with Smurf. Like, just find a way to cram in the word Smurf into their vocabulary where almost every sentence they would have to say the word Smurf. So there is that factor. But I will say immediately, though, that there does seem to be one new thing that they have highlighted, which let's go back a little bit to go and see that quick moment. Yeah, these things here.
The snooter poots.
Snooter poots?
Hey! What are they saying?
Basically, it's these marketable little fuzzballs that, okay, they're gonna go and help out the Smurfs, but you know they're meant to sell toys. Like, that's basically the main thing. It's so that they could go and try to sell more of these, like, little fuzzballs that can be easy to make in terms of, like, their merchandise and stuff like that, in the hopes that kids can go and buy it, especially if you're just going to go and have like little audio that you can recycle from the movie and put it in there where all they just say is cake. So maybe that's the one new thing that they did. And I will give it, there are a few differences between the first trailer and this one that I could tell that probably some of the most hated aspects of the first did not reappear in here. Like, number one, there is literally zero mention of influencer Smurf. The fact that he went viral and that everybody made fun of him, that was a signal for Paramount be like, okay, maybe we should not bring attention to the influencer Smurf. Let's go and take him out of the second trailer. So no mention of that guy whatsoever. And number two, it's only very rarely do we get to see the live action animation hybrid aspect. Because one thing that shocked people about the first trailer is to learn that with this Smurf, they're going to go and recycle that idea of bringing the Smurfs into the real world, that we somehow have these animated Smurfs running around, and in Paris, no doubt. So they're reusing that idea from Sony's second Smurf movie. Like, it was at the point where all it needed was just bring back Neil Patrick Harris and suddenly you'd be all set. Now, this is not to say that they didn't show any clips from the live action world. I believe it was like, where was it? It's like, like right over here.
From Paramount Pictures.
Like, you see a little bit like the Smurfs are in Paris and stuff like that. But that was it. It's like right at the moment that this redhead Papa Smurf coming in, like that, and it's only like that quick little moment that they show that the Smurfs are in the world of live action and try to make that as minor as possible so that people don't pay attention to that. And instead, we quickly get into the plot element with that red-haired Papa Smurf, and that's it. So yeah, in a way, there is a little bit less that they are presenting of what this is about, other than the fact that, well, we do have the plot element that apparently, like, Razumel wants to go and take over the universe and stuff like that, which even that sounds lame. In fact, I'll even go and say that, honestly, the fact that they're bringing in this new villain that is not Gargamel, honestly, like, it sounds pretty dumb because, like, you're not here to see a random guy who sounds like Gargamel be the villain of this. No, you want to see Gargamel actually be the villain. Like, if you're going to be rebooting Smurfs, I'm sure there are some new ways that you can use Gargamel with his villainy, like for him to still be the antagonist. Like, yeah, sure, Gargamel is still in the movie, but based on what we have seen in the trailers, it looks like Razumel is going to be taking on the full-on antagonist role with his purpose of wanting to take over the universe and stuff like that. So in that regards, that's also a factor that, like, yeah, they want to try new things, but like, it just sounds lame. And that's why overall, with what I've seen with this trailer again and again from here, it's just that, like, they're not putting in effort to really try to sell me in the idea of wanting to go see this. Like, the most that I can honestly be positive about this, other than the animation, of course, I've already talked about the animation when that first came out, and that there is a pretty good idea with what they're doing in terms of trying to be a bit more stylistic and have the style be a little bit more true to the original Peyo designs. Like, honestly, the best that I could think of is probably at the beginning when we hear, like, I'm not 100% sure, but like maybe the song is actually pretty cool, like right over here. I will give it that, okay, like, you know, that song is pretty good. Like, that actually does sound like a pretty solid banger of a song, like probably from Rihanna. But from there, honestly, like, that's the most that I could think of that is positive. But when it comes to this entire movie, from the humor that they are presenting, from the plot line, from the acting, from the writing, from everything, like, no. Like, this feels like it's just corporate garbage. It's hard, like, honestly, like, it wants to be a Trolls movie so bad that it feels very transparent of what it's trying to be. It's nothing more but Paramount's desperate attempt in trying to capitalize on the success of the Trolls franchise, while simultaneously trying to capitalize on the Smurfs franchise. Like, they're trying to go and combine these two entities, but never once did they try to figure out how could they go and actually make a good movie out of it. It's one of those films, like, honestly, it's almost like the same feelings that I've been getting with Trolls Band Together, but like, honestly, with this one, I'll even admit that it's much stronger, where even though, like, they do say that it has a director, it feels like the Paramount executives were the directors of this more so than the actual director. So yeah, to be honest, I am not excited for this Smurfs movie. It's yeah, I think this is going to be the one film that I'll be dreading this summer. It's just yeah, it's not convincing me. Like, if the trailer itself has lost hope on this movie, then I don't think I have any hope that this could actually turn out to be good. But for those of you who are curious to go and check out this movie, keep in mind that it will be coming out on July 18th. And with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what did you think of this new trailer of Smurfs? Did it actually change your mind and that maybe you disagree with me and think that this could actually have some great potential? Or do you agree with me and think that this is pretty much a lost cause? In fact, let me go onto Twitch here, and I'm actually going to go and do a poll because there is an interesting question that I would like to ask you all. Will you be watching Smurfs? And then I'll write down yes, and I'll write down no. Now, I'm not asking you if you think this is going to be good or not. I'm asking if you are going to go and actually watch it, even if you know that you're going to go in, excuse me, and think that it's going to be terrible. So let's start that poll, and now let's see what the chat wall has to say. All right. They say you can't polish a turd. So Paramount decided to toss that turd at a ceiling fan so it would splatter all over everything. I haven't cringed at a trailer this much since the last trailer of this movie. This has got to be the most embarrassing thing the Smurfs has ever been a part of. And the Smurfs were a part of Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. But at least this trailer improved on the last one in one respect. At least Influencer Smurf is in jail for what he did to those minors. Oh God, yes. More of these jokes are going to be coming in. Oh boy. Yeah, I think like out of everything from the Smurf movie, the only thing to look forward to is what kind of chaotic memes people are going to think of when it comes to Influencer Smurf. You know what would be crazy? Like, maybe it would be too much effort, but if someone could go and actually do some kind of animation where Influencer Smurf is largely responsible for the chicken jockey meme. Like, take one terrible movie and combine that with one terrible meme, and you got a whole cacophony of like pure cringe being created. But anyways, let's see what we got here. What other comments? I never really cared much for this Smurfs movie, and this trailer didn't really change that. Like you said, this trailer is really sad. I think the animation does have some creativity, but the humor isn't really funny and the story doesn't look interesting. But I will say, the one thing that I was shocked was that Marshmallow is starring in this. Let's hope he doesn't voice Influencer Smurf. Marshmallow? Honestly, which Marshmallow are you talking about? Like, I know it has like an all-star cast, but the only Marshmallow for some reason I can only think of is the one from the one from Bob's Burgers. Like, honestly, if I would know who it is and which Smurf that guy is playing, like, I would legit be in theaters and just go sit there and watch, like, oh, hey, Marshmallow. Okay, anyways, let's see what other comments. Damn, Smurfs, you don't help yourself, don't you? I'm glad they didn't include Influencer Smurf, especially that he was caught smurfing it in San Diego. And I kind of like sound effect Smurf, but the animation still looks like a Wii game. Rihanna's acting is abysmal, and are we seriously doing Minion knockoffs in the year of our Lord 2025? I'm still gonna watch it to take the piss, but Paramount really smurfed the bed here. Oh yeah, that Rihanna song, it's definitely music. I think exactly like I know that I pretty much said that I do like that song. Like, it sounds pretty good, but this is really one of those cases that if you want to try to find something positive to say about this, honestly, you really got to go and dig deep. It's like one of those. It's like, well, I guess the animation does look nice at times. Maybe that Rihanna song sounds cool. Maybe that joke was kind of funny. Maybe that one Smurf. It's like, it's one of those where like, it feels like you have to really like force it out in order to try to say something positive about Smurfs, because everything else is just a chore. It felt like a legit chore to watch. You know, almost as much as it feels like Paramount is doing a chore when trying to promote this. Like, even they don't, like, even the trailer doesn't sound as enthusiastic about it. And by the way, we do have the results of the poll that I made here, and it looks like most of you are not planning to go see this anytime soon. With 83% of the votes actually saying that no, you're not planning on watching it. Maybe there are a handful of you who do plan on watching it, mainly for the sake of, like, hate watching it or to see how terrible it may be. But for the most part, it looks like most of you are going to stay away from this film. All right, what other comments are there? I will say that this isn't as obnoxious as the previous trailer, but that's not saying much, as it still looks pretty bad. I mean, if I see the words Rihanna is Smurfette one more time, I'm going to lose my mind and go on a Smurf page, a Smurf rampage, if you will. If there is anything good I could say about this trailer, at least that cringy influencer Smurf is nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I think, you know, when things are bad, when the most positive thing that people are saying so far is that the worst Smurf they could ever think of is not included in this. That doesn't necessarily change that maybe influencer Smurf could actually still be in the movie, though. But the fact that now they're hiding it in the trailers, not a good sign. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, this trailer is just bad, if not worse than before. It's still unfunny, it's still cringe-inducing, and it feels very lifeless and desperate. This is going to get obliterated by Elio, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, The Fantastic Four First Steps, and Bad Guys 2. I cannot imagine that any of them are going to be worse than this. Oh no, like honestly, so far in terms of movies being released in theaters, Smurfs this year looks like it's going to be the bottom of the barrel. I honestly, I cannot even think what other movies are going to be released this year, even like in terms of the streaming ones, that could possibly be even worse than Smurfs. I think it's a case that you'd have to try. You'd have to put in effort to create an animated movie that would be worse than what we have seen so far with Smurfs. Let's see. Let's read another comment. This trailer just made me feel nothing. I'll admit, while the animation doesn't look too bad, it's just repeating the same mistakes of the Sony movies. The humor is absolutely cringe, and Rihanna's acting is just bad. So this is a hard pass. Honestly, with the quality of this trailer, no wonder they're dumping it in July and have it get buried by all those other big July movies like Superman, Fantastic Four, and Jurassic World. It has no hope. Honestly, I do have a little bit of a theory. I wouldn't be surprised if Paramount decided that they would go and release this Smurf movie in July, mainly because of the fact that if you think about it, this year, we do not have an Illumination movie. I mean, maybe I could be wrong and maybe there's one that I'm forgetting, but so far, Illumination doesn't have anything prepared for 2025. Like, the next movie they have coming up, I believe, is the next Super Mario Brothers movie, which rumors speculate that it might actually be called Super Mario World. So yeah, there's definitely something that I'll be hyped up for 2026. But still though, they think that, oh, okay, we'll be the only animated feature coming out in July. We'll be fine, which, nah, I think it's a high likely chance that it's gonna be a lost cause. Like, unless the Trolls fans want to come in and see the similarities and be like, oh, okay, I'll go take this, because I mean, if they don't mind taking Trolls Band together, I mean, they'll be able to tolerate Smurfs. But other than that, though, nah, I think it's hopeless. All right, I think I'm going to read one more comment before we go on to our first break. So let's see, which one do we have? Yeah, I think I'll go over here. This is it. This is hell. This is my hell, and you are witnessing it together. This trailer is one of the worst I've ever seen. The jokes aren't funny, the dialogue is cringe enough to explode, and influencer Smurf is long gone in the marketing. This looks so bad that I'll absolutely watch it in a so bad it's good way. Just not in the Minecraft way, of course, but in the room category for me. Once again, welcome to my hell. Well, don't worry, because we're going to be leaving hell soon, because now we're going to go on to our first break. And when we do come back, we're going to go and calm ourselves down from what we have witnessed, and we're going to wash off that bad taste with something that can be best described as super. So stay tuned for that. All right, now before we do get into our next story, I just want to go and clarify that there is someone who wanted to go and correct me on what I said before, and that is in regards to one of the Smurfs being played by Marshmallow, and they mention here that it's actually someone by the name of Christopher Comstock, who is an American DJ and music producer. So now I know who you're talking about. Now that you say that it's actually the DJ Marshmallow, suddenly it's like something in my head is like, oh right, that guy. But still though, honestly, I would be down to bring in like Bob's Burgers Marshmallow to be like one of the Smurfs. Where is my Marshmallow Smurf, you know? Like just to come in like in full on drag, just have one of the Smurfs come in and be like, hey, Marshmallow. Hey, Marshmallow Smurf. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Marshmallow or Smurf. We're talking about our next trailer that I have here. Yes, that Smurfs trailer was absolutely cringe, but I have something here that's going to be coming out around the same time as the Smurfs movie, but this one is a lot more anticipated, and this one has so far been gathering so much hype, and this one has played a very significant factor. I'll even say right now, this is going to be a much better trailer than whatever we have just witnessed before. With this one, even though it is going to be live action, I'm sure this is going to be something that will hype everybody up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out our next trailer, as we are going to be watching the upcoming 2025 feature of Superman.
Are you being serious right now?
And that is Superman, to which it is going to be coming out on July 11th. And I'm going to be honest with you all, I don't know at any point in my life that I've ever felt so hyped for Superman quite like this. Like, oh my goodness, this I don't know how the movie itself is going to be. Maybe it's going to be absolutely amazing. Maybe this will be like the best Superman movie since the original with Christopher Reeve or something like that. Or I don't know, maybe it's going to turn out to be as terrible as many of the films from like the Snyder universe and stuff like that. It could go either way. But this trailer, I feel like it is a masterpiece, at least in terms of like marketing the movie, of showing us how the tempo, the theme, giving us a little taste of what it's going to be, showing us just little snippets of all the different creative action that's going to be going on, but not giving us too much where we feel like we're pretty much spoiled, or it feels like, oh, we've seen the entire movie just like very condensed in that trailer. Just none of that at all. Like, honestly, this got me hooked from beginning to end. And I'll even say that if I would have to go and point to what I would consider to be my favorite part in this trailer, and the one that I personally feel like was the absolute most intense moment, it's actually the beginning, like the full interview with Lois and Superman, where Clark decided, okay, I'm going to tell her I'm Superman, and we're going to do an interview. And as the interview was going, like, it got more intense, and you could feel like the tension, like it was heating up like so quickly. And all because they were analyzing Superman, like really questioning who he is and what's his role, or what's his position in our society, and is Superman intruding a little bit too much in our world affairs, like when it comes to trying to stop that war. Was that actually a good thing that Superman was doing, or was he more intruding than anything else? And not to mention also like getting into a little bit of a political factor, talking about his legal status, if he is like an alien or not, and like really going deep into asking, who is Superman, and is he really the kind of hero that Metropolis really does need, even in their time of crisis, when they got like kaijus destroying it, and you got Lex Luthor trying to take over the world and all that kind of stuff. And when you see that there are other superheroes coming in, like we got one of the people from the Green Lantern who's going to be stepping in. We got to look into Hawkgirl and some other superheroes as well. But of course, the main focal point is in regards to Superman himself. So already from there, even though it's just a simple scene where two characters were just talking to each other, like you could feel the intensity that is going on, and it really highlights the deep psychology into who Superman is. Like, honestly, it's been a long time, but I kind of feel like I'm seeing Superman as a character. Like, you got those elements that, yes, they are familiar to like who Superman is as a superhero and stuff like that, but we also get an idea of how Superman himself sees himself. Like if his ego would be considered like either something that's just part of his personality, or if it's something that could be considered like a legitimate flaw. And from there, we do like I said before, like it adds depth to Superman. It adds this complexity, this richness to this character that we haven't seen like in a long, long time, if not ever. It's something very exciting to see this fresh new take of Superman, that we will see him more than just the superhero that we recognize him. We can actually see Superman as a character now. And not to mention that we also get a taste of like other characters in this as well, including Lois Lane, where she is very focused on being a journalist. She doesn't like, she's not trying to be nice. Like, even though, yeah, we do see that Lois is going to be a bit of the, be a bit of like the love interest for Clark. But at the same time, like, she is a journalist first and foremost, and will not hesitate to go into those hard-hitting questions, including talking about Superman's legal status, talking about how he has been facing backlash from the public, or what did he actually do in the role. So we really do get to see Lois Lane as the journalist that she is known for, but like this time, like really as a full-on journalist, which again, in terms of live action adaptations, it's been a long time since we've really gotten a taste of that. And of course, this is not even to mention the action, all the action that we see, like just like little pieces from time to time. Like we would get like this moment with the kid raising up that flag as everybody is in trouble, like showing like, yes, they like, even like in the darkest hour, like they still need Superman. Or like we even see a clip, like a taste of like the other superheroes emerging, like this shot right over here. Like we see this going on. In fact, let's just like back it up. There we go. Like, hold on. There's just like one little moment where we see like, okay, the sun is not intruding. Now we see who our other heroes are. And then there's where was that other moment? Like there was Superman fighting against this like Powerpuff Girls like kaiju, like just taking down the city. Oh, where was it, man? But you guys just saw, like, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's just this like intense moment that we see again and again, like with all these battles. Oh, and not to mention with Like, you know, and not to mention, of course, with Lex Luthor, even though in this we only get like a small taste of it, but we do see the Elon Musk side of him. Like, we see that like his biggest gripe against Superman is the fact that he's stealing the spotlight from him. Like Lex Luthor in this case, from like the little taste of what we had gotten, he's like the guy who wants to be the center of attention. He wants the whole world to revolve around him, much like many of the right-wing billionaires, just like Elon Musk, that we have seen so far. And so far, he's been capturing that pretty well with how desperate he is in order to go and take down Superman so that he could still get more attention. And as we continue along, like we see, and that, you know what? Another thing I want to mention, that's another, wait, actually, hold on. I think I actually found it. Yeah, right over here. It's like, boom, just like Superman fighting off this giant monster, giving him a good punch. But then there's also another aspect I forgot to mention, is how it highlights the heart. How we see the heart really be brought out of like the Superman lore. And I think it is safe to say that where we get to see the heart is from Superman's adoptive parents, the Kents, if you will. And we see them actually act as parents, where they know he is Superman, but still, first and foremost, like, regardless if he's a superhero or not, he is their son, and they act like that, you know, like, and you get like these very cute moments, like even right at the beginning over here with Superman knowing that he has to do something major, and this is what his mom responds with.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Basically one of the most mom things that you could ever say to a superhero. It's like, I clean your boots, I've got to go and get them. Like, honestly, that is very cute. And not to mention, there's also the tender moment with the dad as well. Where is it? It's like, I think it's right. No, it's not over here. Is it? Oh, okay. I found it. Yeah, it's like with this part.
That's what makes you.
Oh, no, I know. Hold on. I got to back it up a little bit.
Your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Hold on. Yeah, that is very tender. Like, you get a little motivational speech and then like a little hug right there. That is very nice. Oh, and there is one more character I think we got to go and do highlight, because yeah, we definitely got a lot of him in the first trailer, but then of course we have to have a little bit more of Crypto. Like, now this time around, it ain't like Crypto we have seen last time, where he was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, basically. This time around, it's just Crypto being a dog. And not to mention, giving us a little moment where Crypto is in action and actually kicking butt. It's like when the villains are in the secret lair. Like, yeah, this part right over here. Hold on, where is it? Boom! Right over there, like actually delivering a good punch. Like, we just gotta have that moment. Oh, and okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say I apologize right now if there are just some things that are like, I forgot, I gotta talk about this. Oh, I gotta go and talk about this. There's also, but I just gotta say, there is one more thing that I do need to mention that really did help this trailer. It is the music. Like, taking that classic John Williams theme and like not only slowing it down, but really like have excuse me, that's just a bit of my lunch coming back, but having the theme like really, well, no pun intended, to pack a punch. Like, when every note emerges, like, it just feels very meaningful and like really stand as like the great comeback of Superman. It's like, No. This ain't Zack Snyder's edgelord Superman. This is the real Superman that everybody knows and loves. He's gonna be coming back. So yeah, overall, I gotta say with this trailer, oh my God, it is amazing. I don't know if the movie itself will be as amazing, but this trailer did a wonderful job in selling me this movie. Just everything about it, from revealing the characters, like their personalities, their acting, like all of that has been greatly nailed so far. It doesn't reveal too much to the point of feeling like it spoils us, just enough to give us little snippets of all the action and all the different superhero elements that it will be coming in. Like, we just have like a small idea of like what could be to come. The music is epic. And even the heart is very tender. So honestly, I think we're going to be in for something quite amazing, or at least that's what the trailer is presenting us. But I'll just say whoever worked on this trailer did a phenomenal job, and it even makes me feel hyped up for what's going to be to come with James Gunn's Superman. And with that said, if you are also excited for the movie to be coming out, then keep in mind it will be released on July 11th. And with that said, now I would like to go on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what did you all think about the trailer of 2025's Superman? Does it get you all hyped up? Are you still a little bit hesitant in watching this movie? Let me know what you think. And also, I'm going to go and ask a bit of the same question, but I got a feeling that we're going to have a lot more of a different outcome. And let me ask you all, will you be watching Superman? Hold on a sec. All right, so I'm going to write down yes. I'm going to write down no. And let's see what the poll has to say over here. And meanwhile, let's look into the chat wall with what you have to say. I am quite excited to see Superman. This trailer is an improvement over the Smurfs trailer. The story fits very well for Superman's character arc. The interview is intense. The action scenes look cool. The music is intense. Some heartwarming moments with Superman and his adopted parents. Krypto is cute. Superman is done better after he was done dirty in Snyderverse and Teen Titans Go to the movies. This is one of my most anticipated movies of 2025. All right. Let's see now. I don't know if I'll see this in theaters, but I do want to see this. Lois and Clark are acting like a couple arguing. Clark just wants to do good and help people and not thinking about the political consequences. It's understandable Superman is just a nice man who knows his strengths and wants to help out. Also, Krypto is a good doggy and makes me think of my own dog. I never thought much of Superman until OSP's video on him, and he's actually interesting. I'm glad to hear people be positive. Exactly, and honestly, I feel like when it comes to Superman, like a lot of people, well, like I've seen many who would go and say that he's such a vanilla superhero. He's like just the basic template of what a superhero should be, but over the years, like with the comics and with the TV shows and stuff like that, he can be used as a complex and very rich character. And from what we've seen in this trailer, it looks like James Gunn is going to go and accomplish that with this Superman. Anyways, let's see what other comments are there. To say this is the first time I've been anticipating to see a Superman movie. In fact, I got my first taste thanks to My Adventures series. Like, it's awesome, but we're getting a spin-off with Lanterns, apparently. Maybe it's because I'm also anticipating to know what this new DCU will bring out, but still from this movie alone really gave me a sense of excitement, and I'm not even a fan. I'll even say it's on par with The Batman. I know James Gunn can be a promising director. It's a must-watch for everyone. All right. Let's see. There is no better way to describe this trailer than super. The visual effects are wicked cool. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. Like the visuals in there are like amazing. Like not only like not only colorful in all the right ways, but also they look stunning. Honestly, like probably one of the best looking DC movies in a long time. Let's see now. What others? I like how they put a new spin on the Superman formula. And can we talk about David Corenswet for a sec? This may be perfect casting, because when he was telling that kaiju eyes up here, that wasn't Corenswet talking. That was pure Superman. This is going to be a must watch. But Crypto, I love Crypto. He is the goodest boy, but only because Warner Brothers doesn't have the rights to Rolf. I get what you mean. And wow, this looks like it is almost unanimous, but 93% of you have voted that yes, you will be watching the Superman movie, with only a couple who just said no. So yeah, the hype is definitely on, and I think the trailers have done a very good job on what it's supposed to do. All right, let's see what other comments are there to go and read. With this trailer, I gotta say, the hype is on. Holy crap, it's super awesome. The action is great, the drama is intense, and David Corenswet's take on the Man of Steel turns out to be very solid so far. I'm telling folks to let James Gunn cook. He does something going on for the DC universe. I can't wait to watch it when July comes. But I will say the best character in the film, not Superman, but rather Crypto. He's such a good boy. Oh my God, there's definitely a lot. Out of everything, it's funny to see like the biggest praise of them all is given to Crypto. Even though he's not as prominent as he was in the previous trailer, like just his moment that he does show up is already getting people excited. Okay, let's see. What other comments would be to go and read? I might go with just one more, but we'll see how it goes. This trailer got me hyped. This really does look like this could be the best Superman we've gotten in a long time. Visually, it's phenomenal with some awesome action scenes. The acting is phenomenal, and Crypto must be protected at all cost. So overall, I'm so hyped for this, and looks like a great start to James Gunn's DCU. And I think this could be a billion-dollar hit if it lives up to the hype, despite both Jurassic World and Fantastic Four coming that same month. I mean, you never know, people. Like, we could see like multiple movies, or like some movies be released around the same time, and they could turn out to be great successes. And I mean, the greatest example is that whole trend from 2 years ago with Barbenheimer, where both Barbie and Oppenheimer came out at the same time, but both of them turn out to be big name hits, where the two together made over $2 billion, with Oppenheimer making almost $1 billion and Barbie making over $1 billion. So it could be highly possible that maybe we'll see a bit of the same thing, where Superman and Fantastic Four could go on to make over $1 billion each. So there is that possibility. So it is great to see that many of you are hyped up, that many of you are excited for this feature. So keep in mind that if you want to go and check out Superman, the movie shall be released on July 11th. All right, so we're going to go and take another break. And when we do come back, we got one more trailer that we're going to go and watch. But this time around, we are going to be returning into the realm of animation, as we are going to be watching one of the most anticipated sequels of the year. And considering that, as I am recording this, Zootopia 2's trailer is not out yet, we're going to be talking about the other anticipated animated sequel. So stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Now we got one more trailer that we're going to go and watch. And this time around, we're going to have a little bit of a combination, because when we started this episode, we began with a trailer for an animated movie, but the only problem was that it was just absolutely terrible. But then our next trailer, we had something amazing, and it really built up our hype, but it wasn't an animated film. It was live action. Can we go and find something that would be more in the middle? Maybe an animated movie, but it is something that feels like it would be worth watching, or a trailer that could hype us up to go and check this movie out, and hopefully it will meet up to go and, meet the hype, per se? Well, that's what we're about to go and find out. because our final trailer that I have here is in regards to, well, out of all the movies that DreamWorks is going to be coming out, even compared to Dogman and Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, this is easily the most anticipated of them all, especially when our favorite villains turn good is going to be coming back to the big screen. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming anticipated sequel, The Bad Guys 2.
Stay with me, Buffalo. Stay with me.
And that is The Bad Guys 2, to which the movie is going to be coming out in theaters on August 1st. Now, this is the second trailer that this movie came out with, and I gotta say, that first trailer was hilarious and amazing. I think it is safe to say that it definitely built up the hype for us to go and check out The Bad Guys 2. But when it comes to this trailer, however, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this one is okay. It's not the best trailer that I've seen, even for all of this, but honestly, I do find like it's fine. Because let's be honest, a good chunk of it, or maybe like around half of it, is pretty much the same thing that we have seen from before. Like we've seen like a lot of the gags that they have presented, like like the interview that Wolf had in order to work at the bank, or like the whole joke with Shark trying to disguise himself as this Italian guy and just speaking like, oh, prego, a cappuccino, stuff like that. Like we've already seen a bunch of those in the first trailer. But the most that they add into this, like the thing that I would say that is brand new of what we have learned, is in regards to the what is it? Yeah, the mission. Basically, what is the main mission that the bad girls are trying to set up with the bad guys? And from the looks of it, it's basically hijacking this entire spaceship. And not only that, but we also got a little bit of a clue of what the bad guys want to actually do, and that is to go and sabotage. And that is given to us with a little bit of a taste of Diane coming back, which is right over here.
Don't tell me you guys are bad again.
No, we're being set up. We need to show the world we're good.
So we're gonna sabotage them.
So, of course, I mean, you can't go and present us the bad guys without a little bit of a taste of Diane, because I'm sure even DreamWorks is very well aware of how many people are simping for her. So they do need to go and show that, yes, Diane is coming back as well with the bad guys in order to get into the action. And I will say, when it comes to the humor that they would go and present, at least with some of the new gags, that one as well, I would say that it's fine also. Like that one I do, like those jokes I will say, like they're not like flat out hilarious, but honestly, they range from like mid to some of them that are actually pretty funny. I think like the new gag that I actually like the most in this trailer, believe it or not, it was actually the last fart joke that they got at the end with Snake and Piranha sharing the same astronaut suit. So it's like, like right over here after the title is seen.
You know what happens when you're nervous?
Oh, buddy, I'm sorry.
What? No. Help me.
Stay with me, Buffalo. Stay with me.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, it's toilet humor for sure, but I feel like this one actually got it to work. It's like with the setup and the execution, they actually did find a way to make a fart joke actually pretty funny in this case. So I will give it to this picture that they're able to go and like handle those types of jokes pretty well. The rest, however, a lot of them just feel like it's just, it's like, I guess it's cute. It's not like, it's definitely not as cringe as, it's definitely not as cringe as Smurfs. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I've seen better jokes like from the previous trailer, or especially a bunch of funnier jokes from like the first movie. So honestly, overall, this one didn't necessarily fully built more of my hype. Like, honestly, yes, I am excited to go and check out The Bad Guys 2, but I wouldn't say this trailer was a massive help. It's not showing me that it's going to be terrible. There are some parts here that they actually look pretty cool, that they look, they look like they're going to be a lot of fun. Maybe they did show us a little bit of how the climax is going to be with all the characters in space now. But still, it's just like with this trailer, I would say it's okay. They're already, they're recycling parts of what we already know from the first trailer, while at the same time giving us a little bit more of a clue of what this movie is going to be about. So honestly, I know I don't have much to say about this, especially when compared to the Smurfs and Superman. But in this case here, it's like, okay, I guess it did its job. But personally, I prefer the first trailer. So I don't know. Overall, though, it's like, it's fine. It does the job. But I mean, the first one already did it much better than this. So, nothing necessarily to go and criticize the movie itself per se based on what we have been seeing. But it's more just, okay, like we know what we're about to get into now. Now we're getting a little bit more familiar. In fact, I might as well go and say now, if there is one criticism that I can go and find in this trailer, other than the fact that there's a bunch of things here that can feel pretty mid, it's just that I feel like the plot sounds like it's going to be familiar, where it's kind of like they're recycling the same things with what they have done in the first film, or even when compared to Wreck-It Ralph, for example, or like even with the other movies of like the, bad guys turning good. Essentially with The Bad Guys 2, it's that they're being roped back into a position where they have to be bad guys, but they want to prove to themselves that they want to be good. It's a, like, I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. Like maybe there is like significant differences compared to how it is in the first film and stuff like that. But you get what I mean, it's like you got the villain that, or the villain or the villains in this case that want to prove to themselves that they want to be good. So they would go and take action in order to like prove their worth, even with the prejudices against them. In a way, I guess like with the sequel, like it's giving me that similar vibes of like the same plot line that we've seen like a bit in the first movie or in Wreck-It Ralph, for example. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see with how it goes when the movie does officially come out on August 1st. And with that said, now I would like to go on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what did you think of the trailer we have seen, the second trailer of The Bad Guys 2? Did it build up your excitement? Are you now more hyped up? Do you think this is better than the first trailer? Or do you think like maybe this might change your opinion on how things are going to go with The Bad Guys 2? In fact, I'm going to go and ask a very interesting question. I'm going to go and change things up right over here with this poll. And now I would like to go and ask you all, which movie are you the most excited for? So I'll go and add The Bad Guys 2 and then Superman. And for the hell of it, let's see if anybody is going to say Smurfs. So I'm going to put up this poll, and let's see what the chat wall has to say. All right. All I can say is Smurf found dead in Miami. Anywho, this looks freaking amazing. The animation looks just as stylish as before. The action looks like it's kicking up a notch. The comedy is banging so far, with Snake's abs being a highlight. And Diane is as smoking hot as ever. Between this and Zootopia 2, it's safe to say that furry cinema is back, and that my body is 100% ready for this on August 1st. All right, well, someone is definitely excited for it. Let's see what other comments here. The Bad Guys was one of my favorite films from DreamWorks, and I am excited for the sequel. Honestly, this trailer looks interesting in my opinion. The animation still looks fun, it still has the same tone with the first film, and the humor is still funny. So overall, this will definitely be better than Smurfs. Oh yeah, I think it goes without saying. Honestly, it's going to be, I'm not saying that nobody would think that, but it's going to be very rare to find someone who would take Smurfs over the Bad Guys too. Let's see what other comments are there. Hell yeah, this trailer got me more hype compared to last time. The animation is top notch, the jokes are cute, the new characters are badass, and Diane. Yeah, Diane is super attractive when she is in her workout outfit. Oh boy, more simping is happening in my chat wall. Anyways, I am so excited to watch the sequel since I love the first movie a lot. Definitely going to see it when August comes. So excited for the Zootopia 2 trailer coming out soon. In the year 2025, we're getting Cops and Robbers Furry Edition. Oh yeah, and you know the funny thing is, I'm actually starting to see crossover fan artwork where, like, just on social media, like on Facebook and stuff like that, I've seen people now making artwork of just crossovers of the Bad Guys and Zootopia. Like, now that's going to be more and more of a thing, especially with the fact that we are getting both the Bad Guys 2 and Zootopia 2. So you can see that, you know, the anticipation is real for both of them. All right, let's see what other comments we got here. I was hyped before, and I'm still hyped now. The trailer got me a little too same as before and a tad spoilery for my taste, but the jokes are pretty funny, particularly the one at the end, and the plot sounds really intriguing, if a little samey. I may need to see when I'll be able to see it, since I'll be on vacation when this is released, but when I do, I'm gonna be in for a fun time. Plus, Diane is back. Guys, I swear, I'm not a furry. You know, yeah, let's see what your internet history has to say about that. No, but for real though, honestly, I do get what you mean, and I do feel like when it comes to this trailer of The Bad Guys 2, yes, I do find it to be a bit inferior compared to the first, but one good thing that I can say is that it doesn't bring down my anticipation. It's not showing me in a more negative light where, oh, maybe this is not going to be as good as I thought. Maybe this film might turn out to be weak. But still though, like, honestly, like, it just stays, like, at the most, in terms of my anticipation, it just remains stagnant. It doesn't change my opinion that I want to go see it, and I'm excited to go see it because I feel like I'm going to have a great time with this feature. So there is that. And by the way, the poll is done, and we got some pretty interesting results. Now, there is one person who did vote for Smurfs, but the one who has collected the most votes is actually The Bad Guys 2, in which 55% of you are saying that you are the most excited for this among the three. Even when compared to Superman, you are more excited by The Bad Guys 2. So interesting results that we have just witnessed. So I think it was 52% or 53, 52 for The Bad Guys 2. And then I think it was like 44% or something like that. Around like the 40-ish range for Superman. And then you get the one that's for Smurfs. All right. Anyways, this looks like fun. I don't have much to say other than dread the grifters complaining about the line about the bad girls and Tarantula pointing out the basic facts about doors. Then again, I have a hard time with doors sometimes. Overall, kind of wish for more Snake with his Raven waifu. Also glad to know Diana is still in the picture. Foxy Queen, Dommy Muscle, Cat Lady. Oh my goodness, the simping is real in the chat. Anyways, so yeah. This trailer is fine, but I know the movie will be fun. All right. Oh, let's see. Any more Diane simping that we got over here, or what did you say? Dommy muscle cat lady? Oh boy, no shaming, by the way. Honestly, this is all just pure fun. And I mean, I'll even admit myself, it's like I see Diane and I'm like, I get it, you know. I get it. Anyways, what else do we have here? Oh, okay. I'll go with this one. I don't think I've read this. As someone who really likes the first Bad Guys, I'm pretty excited for this. I do like the new characters with the bad girls. The animation is just as good as the first movie, and the humor is pretty solid. So overall, I'm definitely looking forward to this. And 2025 is definitely the year of animation-free movies with this and Zootopia 2. And I'm excited for that trailer tomorrow, and when you talk about it in the next episode. Oh yes, I'm sure there will definitely be hype for that. I think next week might also be another well, maybe not fully, but I got a sense that with the trailers we've gotten now so far, and with what's going to be coming up in June, I wouldn't be surprised if the next episode will also be trailer centric. But then again, I guess we will see. Let's see any other comments to go and check out. Will the sequel be good? Maybe not as perfect of a sequel as Shrek 2, How to Train Your Dragon 2, or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but still a decent sequel that DreamWorks' other cash-grabbing sequels in the 2020 decade. Okay, well, simple comment right there. Let's see, any other ones people want to add in? Would it be... no, will we go? Okay, yeah, I'll go with this one then. I found this trailer to be pretty good, and seeing the previous film last year, this makes me kind of excited. The animation is good, the humor is surprisingly funny, and Diane is still, no pun intended, a foxy lady. This is honestly going to be good, and we're going to be good tonight. All right, I think I'll read one more comment, and then we're going to move on to the next the next break and the actual stories that I have in store. Anyways, as someone who enjoys the first Bad Guys movie, I am excited to see it. It is an improvement over last week's Gabby's Crap House the movie and the Smurfs trailer. Oh boy, I didn't expect hate for Gabby's Dollhouse of all things. The story feels decent, the animation is cool, the characters feel charming, and the jokes are funny. This could be DreamWorks' only good movie of 2025 after their films are garbage, like the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake and Gabby's Dollhouse the movie. Okay, again, honestly a bit shocked with the amount of hate for the Gabby's Dollhouse the movie. I mean, it's for preschoolers. I mean, if they like it, then it's doing its job. But I will say also that let's not forget that earlier this year we did get Dogman, and that one, it's not really great, but it's okay, you know, but it's not absolutely terrible that's worth hating. So just want to go and point that out. But yes, I do see that many of you are definitely hyped for the Bad Guys 2. So keep in mind that the film will be coming out later this year on August 1st. And make sure you put that on your calendar so that you could get more of that Diana goodness. But anyways, we're going to go on to our next break. And when we do come back, yes, I will be reporting a couple of news that has come out. And this one, even though it's not animation related, this is one of those that honestly I have to report because it just came out today, or as I am recording this. And I gotta say, sunny days are definitely up ahead, especially for one of the most beloved streets on television. All right, welcome back. Now, on our next story, we're going to go and talk about Sesame Street, because you guys know how much I love the Muppets, so of course I got to go and check in on how Sesame Street is doing. And as you probably recall, in the previous months, or as of recent, it's been quite tough for Sesame Street. At the end of last year in 2024, they were let go from Warner Brothers, mainly because of their shift to be like making stuff aimed for adults and families, so they no longer need Sesame Street and let them go from Max, or what it is now called again, HBO Max. And on top of that, things went from bad to worse when the Trump administration came in to go and attack their funding from by trying to shut down or going after the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, basically trying their best to go and take them down, to stop giving them money, which is all part of Project 2025's plan, since one of their things was to go and take down stuff like PBS and NPR, especially when they have a grudge against Sesame Street, where their education in terms of teaching kids about kindness, about love, about empathy, it goes against their nationalist values. They would rather for Sesame Street to treat them with the kind of values that Trump supporters stand for, like how white people are superior to everyone else and that all Jews must be exterminated. But thankfully, though, that did not happen, as we suddenly just entered a new chapter for Sesame Street, and one that I gotta say turns out to be much better than it ever was before in recent years. And this is, by the way, a piece of news that actually came out just today, as I am recording this, in fact. So it is, I am proud to say that now Sesame Street has been brought to you by the letter N. Yes, Sesame Workshop has announced that they are going to be teaming up with Netflix in order to make that platform Sesame Street's brand new streaming home, in which not only will they be streaming the new episodes that are going to be coming out for season 56, but also it is going to be on Netflix, where you will go and find all the previous episodes, in which over 90 hours of great entertainment can be found on Netflix. But on top of that, that is not all. Because one thing that is said to be significantly different from the previous deal that they have done with HBO is the fact that now, with Sesame Street, when they're going to be releasing the episode on Netflix, on that same day, they'll also be putting it out on PBS. So let me just go on to my source here on The Hollywood Reporter, and it states right over here, in a notable change from the HBO deal, new episodes of Sesame Street will also run day and date on PBS and the PBS Kids app, ensuring that they are easily accessible. Sesame Street has been available on PBS for more than 50 years, though during the HBO deal, the episodes debuted on PBS months after their HBO premieres. So basically beforehand, if you guys recall, in the previous HBO deal that they have, which I will go and talk a little bit later, is that when they signed on with HBO, their deal is that they would go and put out a new episode on HBO first, and then a few months later, they would be able to go and release that new episode onto PBS to go and have them actually go and show the episode on television after their time when the new episodes of Sesame Street was pretty much paywalled, if you will. But now with this change, it looks like PBS is going to be much more of a main home of Sesame Street once again, where the Netflix deal is pretty much just complimentary so that they could have a place where they can show their episodes on streaming. And by the way, there are a couple of quotes that I would like to go and read you here. The first one here is from the CEO of Sesame Workshop, Sherry Weston, in which she states here, "This unique public-private partnership will enable Sesame Workshop to bring our research-based curriculum to young children around the world with Netflix's global reach, while ensuring children in communities across the US continue to have free access on public television to the Sesame Street they love." At the same time, we also got another comment here from Paula Kerger, the president and CEO of PBS, in which Paula states here, I strongly believe that our educational programming for children is one of the most important aspects of our service to the American people, and Sesame Street has been an integral part of that critical work for more than half a century. We're proud to continue our partnership in the pursuit of having a profound impact on the lives of children for years to come. Now, it is worth noting, by the way, I don't know if there is a specific release date as to when is it that we're going to be seeing the Sesame Street episodes onto Netflix and when they'll be coming out on the same day as PBS. But we do know that it is going to be later this year, probably when their contract with Warner Brothers Discovery will fully expire. That's when they're immediately going to go and jump onto Netflix and PBS in order to go and do so. So I'm just going to go and say that, honestly, with the fact that this news just came out, this might be the happiest and some of the best news that I have seen in a while, or maybe at least in terms of like entertainment news. It's like the best that I have seen in a long time, and very exciting, in fact. Mainly because, number one, there are some people who did say it. In fact, this article has mentioned it, that Sesame Street is now saved. Because in the past few months, the future of Sesame Street was put into question. Like, we don't know what's going to be happening, especially with the fact that they were out of their deal with HBO, mainly because of Warner Brothers trying to save money. And then there were the relentless attacks of the Trump administration trying to take away Sesame Street's source of funding. So we just didn't know what's going to be happening with the future of Sesame Street, let alone with the channels like PBS and stuff like that. But then suddenly, this piece of news came out. And I mean, this is not even to mention that beforehand, there was also the news that the workers of Sesame Street have all agreed with, I believe, is a 74% vote, or give or take around that percentage, where they agreed to go and actually form a union. So now we also do have a Sesame Workshop union in which those people are going to be taken care of as well. So it is great to see that there is that, and I do congratulate the workers of Sesame Street to actually go and form a union in order to go and like fight for their rights in order to make a better living when working on Sesame Street. So that is great to see. But then on top of that, we also got this deal going on in which now we know Sesame Street's future is going to be secure, both with PBS and Netflix now adding in their funding to go and keep this show going. But I will say that while it is great to see that now we do have a future home for the Sesame Street episodes in terms of streaming, now that we got Netflix coming in, because like, honestly, I'm just going to say, I'm not really surprised that Netflix would be the ones to come in and like bring in Sesame Street onto their streaming service, because Netflix is pretty much in a mood where they are not picky whatsoever of the kind of entertainment they want to have for their streaming service. Like, they would gladly take like almost anything and everything. It was like, oh, you got this thing in? Come on, bring it in. Oh, let's see. Oh, hey, Gendy Tartakovsky, what you got there? Yeah, an R-rated dog movie? Yeah, sure. We'll bring it in. Oh, hey, Sesame Street. Yeah, we would love to have Sesame Street. Why not? We're definitely down. At least we're gonna have something to compete Disney with when they got Bluey. We'll have Sesame Street. You know, we could work things out together. So honestly, it doesn't necessarily surprise me with the way that Netflix is in the mood of taking almost anything and everything they can gather. Like maybe like this could be a controversial thing to say, but Netflix does seem to take pride in the quantity of stuff that they have in their platform. So of course, adding in Sesame Street would definitely go and bring in like a massive bunch, like hours of entertainment that they can provide to children. But I will say, even though that part, that definitely is great. So like, we know that they're going to be secure with that. And especially with the fact that the Netflix money will especially be helpful with Sesame Street. But what I will say is the best part about this news is regarding PBS, that it's no longer going to be that deal that they had before where the new episodes had to be paywalled for a few months before being released on PBS and stuff like that. They have agreed to do a day and date release where when it comes out on Netflix, it also will come out on PBS at the same time, along with being on the PBS Kids app. That's what I find to be the best thing. Because I don't know if you guys recall back in 2019 when that deal was first made between Sesame Street and HBO. It was a very controversial move, mainly because of the fact that it feels like now Sesame Street just prioritize on the money more so than providing education for all children across America and even around the world. It was a little bit of a bad move where it felt like now Sesame Street is kind of prioritizing their greed and that they're looking for other venues in order to go and like get more money in order to go and fund the show. So that was a little bit bad, especially with the fact that now it feels like with those Sesame Street episodes, only privileged kids would be able to have the priority to go and check out how the new episodes are, while the poorer kids would have to wait for like several months until like, oh, there's the new episodes on PBS. So yeah, it was a bit of a controversial move back then. But now it has pretty much changed where instead of just waiting, they could go and immediately have it. And with the fact that now the new episodes can be on PBS at the same time as it does come out on streaming, it feels like now the priority to provide education for all children is back as like the main purpose of Sesame Street. That now they got their morals in place and that yes, even though trying to get money is very much crucial and they definitely do need the funding from both the CPB and from Netflix, they do, like now it feels like they are taking importance to go and actually provide that education for kids, to go and actually like present PBS as like the main source, the main house for Sesame Street, like it has always been for decades. Like the HBO thing, like, yeah, it got in the way, but then suddenly now we can get back into having PBS be the main house of Sesame Street, or debatably one of the main houses where they also have to share it with Netflix as well. But still, the classic traditional way of people going to watch new episodes of Sesame Street, it is back with being on PBS. Where now Sesame Street is back as being one of the important sources of children's education for all kids in America, regardless of what class that they are in, whether it be among the 1% or if they are among the lower class, they can all have access to Sesame Street and enjoy the new episodes the same day, the same way, or maybe in different ways, but still though, like at least at the same time, they can be enjoying Sesame Street. And that's the thing that I really am excited about. In a way, it's like the heart of Sesame Street has come back. The main purpose of like, what is their biggest and most important contribution in America and around the world as well. Like that feels like it has returned, and that feels like it is back as being one of the main things or one of the main purposes of Sesame Street. So in a way, with this deal, it's not just the fact that Sesame Street's future is secure and that now they have a new streaming home with Netflix. It's the fact that at the same time, they're going to be back with having PBS as one of their main homes to go and like, to release the new episodes. That's the part where I personally feel like it is exciting. In a way, it's like now the entirety of Sesame Street that we all know and love has finally returned as well. So yes, honestly, this has got to be some of the happiest news that I've seen in relation to the Muppets, or even in terms of entertainment in general. It has come back. So honestly, very wonderful to see, and really, I just got to say congratulations to the people of Sesame Workshop for not only this new deal, but for bringing back the heart of Sesame Street and remembering what it's all about. It's to provide education for children who need it, especially those who can't afford to have proper education. So honestly, great on them, and glad to see that they're back on top doing their service for their country. So very wonderful. All right, so with that said, now I would like to go onto the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about this news with Sesame Street not only going back to, I don't mean going back, but what do you think about Sesame Street now going to Netflix to stream all their episodes? And what do you think of them going back to PBS being their main house to distribute their new episodes? Let me know what you all think on that. All right, so let's see. This is definitely a big win for Sesame Street. Given some of the unfortunate things that have been happening as of late, it's honestly awesome seeing Sesame Street on Netflix, and especially with the things happening with PBS. The fact that the show has a bright future is great, and honestly, a much better deal compared to last time. Also, if you ask me, it is better leaving HBO Max given how badly the service is doing, given its rebranding again. Yeah, that is true. In case you guys don't know, recently, Warner Brothers Discovery did announce that, well, I mentioned it before, but Warner Brothers Discovery did announce that they are changing the name of their streaming platform again from Max to HBO Max, which really does highlight the incompetence of David Zaslav's leadership. And you know when things are bad, when some of the better announcements they've made is just trying to fix the things that were never broken in the first place. Or what I mean specifically is fixing the things that they broke that were never broken in the first place. So it's just basically David Zaslav and his team cleaning up their freaking mess for once. Okay, anyways, let's see. Glad to see Trump's plan to make the children of the world evil and stupid as him has been stopped. With Max, or HBO Max, or whatever the fridge they want to call it, being on death's door, I guess Sesame Workshop saw the writing on the wall, and they decided to make Sesame Street with a streamer owned by a company that isn't in the process of destroying itself. I just wish Disney Plus hadn't dropped the ball so we could get the Muppets and Sesame Street on the same streamer. At least they got Gumball. Again, as I mentioned before, I feel like that's a little bit of an iffy thing right there. I feel like that's a little bit of a controversial move to have Sesame Street even be close to Disney. Like, yeah, Sesame Street could go and hang out with Kermit and the gang, but being close to Disney, it's like, I don't know, man. And keep in mind, this is coming from a Disney adult like myself. And if I'm saying that it's iffy for Sesame Street to be with Disney, then you know that's an iffy thing. Maybe that's a thing you shouldn't be doing. Okay, anyways, what else do we got here? The moment we thought we thought that Sesame Street's future is dark, Netflix came in and, no pun intended, sweep the clouds away and become the savior of the series. I'm super happy that finally the show is free from the rednecks wanting to take away the funding. Between that and workers getting unionized, the future of Sesame Street is now looking very bright and in good hands. Well, that's definitely great. And there's even one mentioning, I was expecting Amazon Prime Video to be a new home for Sesame Street, but I am happy that Netflix is now the new home of Netflix and PBS. Hope children get more education. All right. And, well, it doesn't seem to be that many comments about it, but, yes, it is great to see that this is happening. And now we don't have to worry anymore about Sesame Street, because from here on out, it looks like things are about to be bright, and it looks like in the future, we're definitely going to be getting more Sesame Street, both on Netflix and PBS. All right, so I think now it is a good time to go on to our final break. And when we do come back, we're going to go and look into the dark side of things. Speaking of HBO Max, we're going to go and discuss about Warner Brothers, and especially with the way that they have been handling a highly beloved channel, especially amongst cartoon fans. So stay tuned, because when we come back, we're about to talk about Cartoon Network. And now, everyone, it is now time that we are going to go and cap this episode off with the grand finale. And on this grand finale, I am specifically going to be talking about a big article that came out in the past week. One that has been circling around social media and had a lot of people talking about a certain TV network, especially when there was a time that people remembered that it was on the massive rise. It turned out to be such a legendary channel, and it's what helped made a lot of people turn into cartoon fans. But nowadays, when you see its current state, oh boy, it turned out to be quite awful. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the article that is called Cartoon Network's Last Gasp. This is a Bloomberg article in which it was written by Felix Gillette. And this article pretty much highlights the current state of Cartoon Network. And to make a long story short, it's very bad. They are currently in quite a bad state where their future is now pretty questionable. I'm not going to say that it's at the point where it is quote unquote dying per se. I wouldn't go as far as that, but it is at the point where it feels like I don't know how much more or how much time left does Cartoon Network have in order to live or to stay up on television and stuff like that. And I will say, yes, a lot of people have been pointing fingers to this one entity. And yes, it did mention that a big part of it is because of David Zaslav and because of the poor leadership that he has been presenting with Warner Brothers Discovery. And especially with the fact that ever since he stepped in, he reduced the revenue, or not the revenue, but basically the value of Warner Brothers has been reduced ever since David Zaslav came in by 60%. So I think it is safe to say that Zaslav has been doing a lot of damage to the entire company of Warner Brothers in general. And one of the few entities in there that took the biggest hit is in regards to Cartoon Network. However, to say that it is just because of David Zaslav would not necessarily be true, because it is a little bit more of a complex situation. And this is why with this article here, it is a pretty big one, because it does go into detail as to what is it that caused the downfall of Cartoon Network in the first place. And there are 3 additional factors that led to the downfall of Cartoon Network that we are witnessing right now. And first and foremost, it's actually something that is unfortunately inevitable. And this is something that all TV networks in one capacity or another that they are facing. And the reason number one is because of how we are in the, oh, excuse me, folks. Didn't mean to be rude there. But the first one is the fact that we are in the age of streaming and the internet. It's the factor that nowadays people would rather go onto either streaming, or they would go on websites or apps like YouTube or TikTok in order to go and consume their entertainment. In fact, maybe not if you're listening, but if you are watching, like if you are watching this either on YouTube or if you're watching this live on Twitch and stuff like that, then that's exactly my point, is that instead of watching television, you would rather listen to me talk about Cartoon Network. And that's just one of the many examples of how in this day and age, people would rather look onto streaming or the internet for their entertainment instead of television and the TV networks of whatever they would go and provide. In fact, this has taken a hit in their revenue, like all across the board. But when it comes to Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, it looks like they took a serious hit, especially if you compare to how things were back 10 years ago. And there's actually one passage that I would like to go and read you, which is right over here, in which it states, reading from my source here on Bloomberg, in August, Warner Brothers announced it was taking a $9.1 billion charge, writing down the value of its traditional TV networks, which include, along with the Discovery Channel and Cartoon Network, the Food Network, TBS, and TNT. Warner Brothers doesn't break out the individual financial performance of each channel, but Cartoon Network's struggle have certainly contributed to the downturn. According to estimates from S&P Global Market Intelligence, the annual advertising revenue from Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, its spin-off animation brand for grown-ups, plummeted from $668.3 million in 2024 to $133.7 million last year. That is said to be around an 80% decrease from last decade to now, or at least from 2014 to 2024. So you can imagine that because the revenue took a significant nosedive over like year after year, especially when the internet and streaming became a lot more prevalent, you could imagine that when David Zaslav stepped in 2022 and saw the downfall that Cartoon Network was facing, he would imagine that with Cartoon Network, it's not that much of a valuable asset to the whole company. Like, in a way, like as it is going down, eventually his cares about it would go down as well. So that's one significant factor to go and mention. It is unfortunately inevitable, but that does play a significant part here. Now, number two, and this is something that I have previously mentioned in this episode here, but this is something that really needs to go and be highlighted this time. It's the factor that you may have heard of this before, but Warner Brothers' main new priority that they have established themselves, that their main target audience that they want to go and focus is adults and families. But when it comes to kids, however, it's a lost cause. They've pretty much given up on it. And a big reason is actually because of their streaming with what is now called HBO Max. And there actually is a chart here on this article on Bloomberg in which they actually did show that in terms of the percentage of how many kids between 2 and 12 would be watching the different streaming platforms, as you could see, when it comes to HBO Max, or just Max in this case, it's like almost at the bottom. Like, it only makes it above Hopster. But everything else, however, from stuff like PBS Kids to Hulu to Paramount Plus to Apple TV to Discovery Plus to Peacock and even Kidoodle TV, they were able to get more kids than HBO Max ever could. And they've pretty much accepted the fact that there is no way they can ever go and compete with the likes of either YouTube, Netflix, or Disney Plus, in which they're at the top and pretty much gathering on average 40 to 60% of the kids to go and binge watch on their streaming platforms. Like, you could see their numbers are like way over here that the rest could barely even reach. But with HBO Max, however, they've pretty much given up. Like, they accepted that there is no way that they could ever go and compete with the likes of either YouTube, Netflix, or Disney Plus. So in that regard, instead of trying to go and like really push hard in order to make their shows be better and be more appealing to kids, they decided to just let it go and not even try to go and compete against them. They knew that they know that it's kind of like impossible to go and do so. And from there, consequentially, with a brand like Cartoon Network that is primarily like their kids brand per se, that also is an element that makes it less important to the current status of Cartoon Network. That they would see that, well, you know, they don't make much out of like kids shows and stuff like that. Kids are not as interested in watching things in HBO Max, so they're not really that interested in providing new stuff for something like Cartoon Network because, well, if their primary thing is to offer kids stuff for Warner Brothers, then they're not that interested because they don't want to make kids stuff. They just want to focus on adults and families. So there's also that significant factor that, in a way, Warner Brothers has pretty much given up on trying to get kids to watch their streaming platform or to make them watch their shows and movies and stuff like that. And with Cartoon Network, they feel like because of that, it's not as strong as what it used to be. If kids don't care watching things from Warner Brothers, then they feel like kids don't care about watching things on Cartoon Network. And then there is the third factor, reason number 3. And this is something that I want you all to go and have a guess on this. Chat wall, I want to ask you all, what do you think is Cartoon Network's main priority? Not Cartoon Network. What do you think is Warner Brothers' main priority? What is Warner Brothers' main goal right now? Write in the chat wall, what do you think? Let's see. A lot of people are saying David Zaslav, HBO Max, money. A lot of people are saying money. Money. No, but I do see Ashton Lee, you actually got it right. You're the one who got the correct answer. It's actually paying their debt. In case you don't know, Warner Brothers is in critical debt. In fact, they have been in critical debt for decades. In fact, it was pretty much the big reason as to why AT&T decided to sell their Warner Media division in the first place, is because there's just too much debt to go for any company to actually handle. And I don't know the specifics of how much they are at right now, but let's just say that Warner Brothers is unironically, they are literally in billions and billions of dollars in debt. Like beforehand, I heard that, or at least prior to David Zaslav coming in, they were like around $50 billion in debt. But now, I mean, maybe there's a little bit less, but they're still like in the 11-digit mark. You know, they still have a lot that they have to go and pay, which is why if you go and factor in the previous things that I have mentioned with David Zaslav, with TV, with television being overshadowed by streaming and the internet, with kids not being as engaged with Warner Brothers compared to the other companies, then in that regard, Cartoon Network is the first to be sacrificed. Or at least Cartoon Network is the first thing that they are willing to go and like strip down and to go and let go in favor of trying to save up some money and try to pay the debt. This is exactly why this is exactly why when you go on HBO Max, you will find that many, if not most, Cartoon Network shows cannot be found on the platform, despite it being Warner Brothers' official streaming account, and the fact that Warner Brothers is the home of many, and I do mean like a massive chunk of animation icons. You can barely, excuse me again, but you could barely find anything that is from Cartoon Network. Maybe they have a handful of shows, but that's pretty much it. They don't necessarily have a lot. In fact, the strategy that they are doing right now is that they would rather go and hand it to another streaming platform for them to go and actually distribute it. And there was actually a recent example that just came out today, or on the day that I'm recording this, is the Gumball revival. You probably have seen Cartoon Network did put out a teaser trailer for what is now called The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. And that is going to be coming out not on HBO Max, but on Hulu. So now Cartoon Network is starting to become dependent on Disney to go and actually distribute their cartoons and to find better success there than they would on HBO Max. Like, when you think about it, it is a little bit messed up. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we would end up seeing more Cartoon Network shows be distributed on other platforms like either Hulu or maybe even full-on Disney Plus, or also be distributed on other platforms like Amazon or Netflix, just anything other than HBO Max. In a way, at best, the relationship between Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network is a lot like Sony Pictures and Sony Pictures Animation, where Sony Pictures Sony Pictures doesn't seem to trust themselves to go and distribute any Sony animation projects, despite the fact that they own the company. Like, they don't think they're able to go and release it the regular way and that they would find great success with it. At least anything right now that isn't Spider-Man related, which is why that they've grown to become a lot more dependent on Netflix in order to go and distribute their films there so that they could find greater success and reach out to a wider audience than they would if they would release it in theaters. And it's kind of the same thing that we are seeing right now with Warner Brothers and the new Cartoon Network shows. Instead of directly putting them on HBO Max, they are more dependent on other platforms to go and make deals with them so that they could go and distribute it, and especially, not to mention, so that other platforms can handle the upkeep costs. And they're pretty much transparent about it, where that's the reason why you don't see many Cartoon Network shows on HBO Max, is because Warner Brothers just doesn't want to pay the upkeep costs. They don't want to pay the residuals. They don't want to pay anything that would make them have that show on their platform. Because again, it's all about paying their debt. Now, with that said, though, I am not saying that it's over for Cartoon Network. I'm not saying that they are canceled. I'm not saying that they're pretty much going to be over soon. I'm not saying that we're no longer going to have Cartoon Network by the end of this year. Or at least, like, I'm hoping that we'll still have Cartoon Network by the end of this year. Because the thing is, they did state that there is still a future. But the thing is that in Cartoon Network's current state, especially with everything that's going against them, they don't really have the same privileges compared to Adult Swim. And the reason why I say that is because now, in order to keep Cartoon Network alive, the channel has to become a lot more dependent on popular IPs. You know, they can't be like Adult Swim, where they would be able to go and be more experimental and release new shows such as Smiling Friends and Common Side Effect, and they would be able to find great success. Instead, now they're going to be a lot more dependent, where don't be surprised if next month at Annecy, Cartoon Network is going to announce a lot more revivals and reboots. Basically, the same names that we're all familiar with, that we're going to be seeing a lot more of them on Cartoon Network. I mean, there's already Teen Titans Go that's been keeping Cartoon Network afloat. But then, like, we're probably going to hear more about the revivals and reboots of the Powerpuff Girls, of Regular Show. We're going to hear more about Gumball. We're going to hear about Scooby-Doo and stuff like that. So right now, that's going to be the future of Cartoon Network, is that they're going to keep on trying to survive with popular IPs, of bringing them back and trying to make new episodes of that, where on streaming, they're most likely not going to be seen there, but maybe on another place such as Hulu. So overall, with all of these factors, it really really is sad to see Cartoon Network in that current state. It really is unfortunate to see what was once considered an animation empire, and now it's at the point where it's just having a hard time just trying to deal with the management that's been going on again and again and again, just being neglectful, being neglected in a way. Where, yeah, sure. I'll just say that even though that it's very likely that it's going to survive this year, that we're still going to have a Cartoon Network by the end of 2025. But at this state, in its current state, I don't know if we're going to have a Cartoon Network by the end of this decade. Like, I think the real question is, will we still have a Cartoon Network by 2030? And that, honestly, I am not sure. That's going to be a factor where, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see, because it all depends on how things are with the parent company, with Warner Brothers. As long as the business there can stay afloat, then Cartoon Network can stay afloat. But with how it is right now, with the way that business is going pretty bad, I'm just going to say right now, if things go from bad to worse with Warner Brothers, if they end up continuously losing money more and more, then you know that one of the first, if they have to go and downsize and make some serious cuts, then I think that's going to be the point where I can imagine Warner Brothers might inevitably pull the plug on Cartoon Network, and soon it could be gone. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but that's my current feeling. It's just right now, they're both Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers are in a bad spot. It's just right now, if we want to ensure that Cartoon Network stays alive, we just have to hope that Warner Brothers in general is still doing a good job and that the business there is doing fine. In a way, it's, the funny thing is, it's like what I said on TikTok, because I just made a recent little animation fact video talking about this article and even bringing up the same points here. But the thing is that right now, in its current state, Warner Brothers is a sinking ship. Right now, the business is not doing well, and that they're slowly but surely going down. And Cartoon Network is pretty much stuck on the lower deck. So if they sink any further, then Cartoon Network is among the first to ultimately drown and just not survive. So that's just my piece that I want to go and talk about in regards to Cartoon Network. And now with that said, I would like to pass this on to the chat wall. And I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the current state of Cartoon Network? Do you think Cartoon Network has still a few years to live? Do you think it will be able to survive the calamity of David Zaslav? Or do you think it's pretty much hopeless for Cartoon Network? Let me know what you all think. All right, let's see what we got here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do something very interesting. I'm going to go and actually make another poll. And I want to go and ask you all, do you think Cartoon Network will survive this decade? So, do you think we will see Cartoon Network in 2030? So I'll write down yes, I'll write down no, and I'll see what you guys have to say on that. Anyways, let's look at the chat wall. Even though I also consume a lot of internet, especially with YouTube, and also a bit of actual streaming services like Disney Plus and a bit of Netflix, even still, I prefer the old way too. I've always preferred physical video games over digital. I still buy discs, and now pretty soon I might consider watching a bit of cable TV again. Let's be honest, society has become too dependent on being too convenient nowadays, and stuff like the internet and streaming are part of that convenience. Yeah, I will say that that is part of the problem. But what you're talking about, I will say, I mean, it's not a bad answer for sure, but it's part of a much bigger subject. This is a subject far greater than Warner Brothers. That's on the factor that our society has become too dependent on conveniences, where we want to have everything in just a simple push of a button. So yeah, you're definitely right on that, but oh boy, is that a major topic there. Anyways, let's see here. With so many Cartoon Network shows like Total Drama Island, Adventure Time, and as I mentioned in the previous story, Gumball being removed from Max and showing up on Disney-owned Hulu, it's safe to say Disney is doing more to save Cartoon Network than the company that owns Cartoon Network. I think we owe Stuart Snyder and Christina Miller apologies. Sure, they tried a lot of stuff that didn't work on Cartoon Network, but at least they weren't actively trying to destroy it. All right, let's see what other comments. This is honestly just depressing. Ever since Discovery merged with Warner Brothers and Zaslav took over, he made a complete mockery of the company and treat animation like trash. And seeing the treatment and the uncertain future of Cartoon Network is just insulting and upsetting. Honestly, given the uncertain future of Cartoon Network, it's no wonder the upcoming new Gumball series is coming to Hulu instead. Even Paramount values Nickelodeon more compared to Warner Brothers with Cartoon Network. For sure on that. That's kind of a sad truth right there. Let's see. If it wasn't Stuart Snyder or Christina Miller destroying Cartoon Network that fans would love to blame for a long time, it's David Zaslav that truly is destroying Cartoon Network, since we know that he loves animation so much. Am I right, guys? So yeah, cable TV is sadly dying here, since no one I know has cable anymore, and I'm now seeing Gumball on Disney Plus on all places. The only thing Cartoon Network studios can really do is just go to different platforms like Disney Plus or Netflix. Exactly, man. It's just, it's at the point that if they're not going to get much attention from their parent company, they might as well go and find attention somewhere else and, find an audience there. It's like, ironically enough, it's stuff like that. Why is it that Netflix and Disney Plus are becoming more popular with kids more so than HBO Max? And by the way, I just want to go and quickly mention that based on the poll, many of you actually seem to be pretty optimistic, in which you say 76% of you that have voted that you say that yes, Cartoon Network will survive this decade. That 76% of you actually say that by 2030, we will still have a Cartoon Network, compared to the 24% who are a lot more pessimistic. So very interesting. We're seeing like three quarters of you are more hopeful for Cartoon Network's future. Let's see now. What other comments to go? I think I have time for one more to go and read, actually. I haven't watched Cartoon Network in a while, but hearing this is heartbreaking. I'm not going to say that it might die, but with everything that's been happening at Warner Brothers, it's really sad seeing the company struggling to keep its audience. My thoughts and prayers are with the people at Cartoon Network, hoping that the network can stay afloat so that they can keep their jobs. I'm also hoping that the Gumball revival can give the company a massive boost, even if Hulu and Disney Plus are releasing it. We'll see how things go. And I unfortunately, I think that's the best that we can do, is just hope for the best that maybe Cartoon Network can pick themselves up from there, even when David Zaslav is making Warner Brothers struggle. All right, now with that said, that should do it for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Thank you all so much for joining me on this, and tune in for the next episode where there will definitely be a lot more cartoon madness and more trailers coming up, especially since we've had a talk about The Bad Guys 2. Soon, we will then go with the other furry animated sequel with Zootopia 2. But with that said and done, I also want to say that if you guys would like to have more crazy adventures of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast and want to see more new episodes come out, then don't forget to go and subscribe me on Twitch with the AniMat Live channel, or on the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel. At the same time, if you guys are listening on whatever podcast service that you are with this, then don't forget to go and follow me there too, whether it be on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and many, many more. And with that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.